Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Let's dig in. Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
I needed an onion for a recipe the other day, but when I got one out, I noticed they were starting to go bad, so I took them all out to chop and freeze. A couple had bad places, but I could just peel a layer off and the inside was fine. However, one I peeled off a layer, but the bad spot remained, so I had to peel off the next layer. Unfortunately, that bad spot went all the way through, and I ended up having to throw away the whole onion. It reminded me of the book of Hosea. Most of you know the story. God commands his prophet Isaiah to marry and love a prostitute as an allegory about how the Lord's relationship is with rebellious, idol-worshipping Israel. The law said to kill an adulterous woman, but God's grace told Hosea to marry her. Hosea obeyed, but not only did she cheat on him, she ran away and sold herself to her lovers, abandoning Hosea in his loving care. Then God, in his perfect love, sent Hosea, telling him to buy her back and love her. Through Hosea's relationship with his adulterous wife, Gomer, we see such a beautiful layer underneath that story of God's love for Israel. The people of Israel didn't know the Lord. They had turned themselves completely over to idols. They lied, cheated, stole, and rejected all of the good that God had given them. Over and over, he reached out to them in his love and compassion. Yet every time he brought them back, they'd go off again. The cycle continued to repeat itself. Yet, in love, the Lord pursued his people. Though he would allow them to face the consequences of their sin, he promised restoration. The book of Hosea uses beautiful imagery to show God's intentional love and compassion. He allured Israel, spoke comfort to her, betrothed her to him, drew them with gentle cords, bands of love. It reminds me of how when I was little and got myself in trouble, my dad would spank me with tears in his eyes. Then he would hold me and we'd cry together. God's desire for his people, Israel, was and is that they would come to him, trust him, accept his love, and love him back. Instead of sacrificing to him out of a sense of duty, he longed for them to have a relationship with him that went beyond the surface. His arms were open to them. But this book's layers go beyond Hosea and Gomer, or even God and Israel. It's a beautiful picture of us today. It can be a picture of God's relationship with us individually, our church, the church at large, or even our nation. The Lord saw us and loved us, even in our sinful state. Even though the law said the wages of sin is death, God's grace claimed us for his own. Unfaithfulness leads to emptiness, loneliness, pain, and slavery. Though we stray and rebel and sin against the Lord, he continues to love us. And he paid a staggering cost for us on the cross. He gave everything to rescue us from our sins, from our Gomerness. He pursues us, woos us, shows us his love in so many ways. Interestingly, the book of Hosea doesn't tell us what happened to Gomer. Is she one of those onions that no matter how many layers you peel off, it's still bad? Or did she respond to Hosea's love and care? We don't know. It leaves that part out. Did Israel? Not long after the book of Hosea was written, the northern kingdom was invaded and taken captive by Assyria. As for Israel today, some Israelites have and some haven't. As a nation, they have not returned to the Lord. But he still has his arms open wide for them, longing for them to return. How about us? Well, it's totally up to the individual person. God has done everything to provide us with salvation. He's given us his love letter, the Bible, to show us his love and mercy. It's up to us to receive it and love him in return. Have you received that restoration God lovingly holds out to you? Or do you think you've gone too far, done too much for God to love? Let me assure you, the Lord loves you with an unconditional, mind-blowing type of love that we can't understand. No matter what you've done, He wants you. He loves you. He longs for you to come to Him and to love Him too.
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes at our website, which you can find in the description below. Thanks for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.